Yo, this is Never Gallimore from the Dallas Cowboys, and I want to give a major shout out to Mike Tag. Keep bringing the hype to the Cowboys Nation. We love and appreciate it. Now, can you dig it? Let's get it.
What's up, Cowboys Nation?
What is up, Cowboys Nation? Good morning. Hopefully you had a decent night. It wasn't the best game. Let's just be honest. We're going to get into it. But I was watching a little UFC, so didn't get to bed till 1 o'clock in the morning. But I'm an early bird, so I am up and ready to roll. Talk some Cowboys football. Angelica, good morning. Hopefully, you got your coffee. Doug, what is up? Troy, what is up? And so we got Doug and Troy in the fantasy football for the show on Tuesday. So I know the gang over there is going to be excited to get things going. So it's definitely season's getting closer. We're going to talk about this game. Definitely want to get your opinions, and definitely with Overshown, we're going to get into that. Not looking good, but my initial reactions on the game. Offense saw the running game. Running game looked a lot better. I'm wondering if maybe Duece Vaughn put a little fear into Malik and Rico, because they both look pretty good. Kind of what we hope to expect from them. And then obviously Duece, first carry, 14 yards and touchdown. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Didn't get a lot going afterwards, but still you saw that big play capability that he has. But man, the big concern. What's up, Mark? See, Mark's up early, so when you're picking me up, I feel a lot more confident that you're picking me up for that Jets game, and I won't be sitting at the airport all day. So that's definitely a good thing. So. But anyway, yeah. So let's get into it. Let's get into the rough stuff first, and injuries. And you guys saw it. And my first reaction, we were on the show last night. I was like, man, it looks like his knee. I didn't see it right away. I kind of saw the tail end of it. And then, was hoping maybe it was an ankle, but it looked like it really was a non-contact, wasn't a big deal. And usually those are the ones that you fear the most. So out for the year, more than likely. Keep our fingers crossed that is not. But I mean, all of us have been watching football a long time. It just looks like something that's probably ACL. So it's sad for him if that is the case, because he showed a lot of potential, a lot of big playability, a lot of leadership. And we talked about, and my concern on the defense was just the linebackers, and the depth that we have at linebacker, the youth that we have at linebacker, and who's going to step up. So, losing him, it's a bummer, but this is a tough business. Yeah, Mark, military. I figured you're gonna be all right. I figure we'll be all right. So you got the ride, I got the breakfast, so that'll be the deal. And let's see what else we got up. What's Mama doing watching Honey Nut Cheerios? Ain't nothing wrong with that. I had little crackers or little cookies, whatever they are that my wife buys a bunch of. So anyway, who's going to step up? Now's the opportunity to get somebody step up. Good morning, Vince. How you doing? Hope everything is going good with you. This day's supposed to rain, so I don't know. It might be an indoor day for me, but who's going to step up at the linebacker? You saw Jabril Cox. I mean, he's been around the ball, making tackles, making plays. So hopefully he is going to be one of those guys that can fill that void. But somebody's going to have to fill the void, and it's tough. I mean, LVE is going to be fine. You got Jabril Cox, Damone Clark. I mean, obviously he's stepped up. He's one of those guys that a lot of people are touting is going to have this huge breakout year. So it's just one of those things. Someone's got to step up. We had other injuries. I mean, Willetsko, trying to prove himself to be one of those swing tackles, backup. He went down with a shoulder injury, left the game. You saw, what was his name? The tight end, John Stevens. I think he left the game. My man Redwine left the game. So you're starting to get some of these injuries, which leads to the questions of, do you play your starters? Do you play your starters in preseason? You're seeing Mahomes play. You're seeing Josh Allen play. You're seeing all these, these Russell Wilson playing, and you're wondering, hey, should we get these guys in there? Well, this is the flip side to it. If you get an injury, you're gonna, and if it's to one of your starters, man, it could change the whole complexion of the team. So that's one of the things you got to worry about. And you haven't seen a lot of starters in. That's why I'm not going to overreact on the game. I'm not going to sit here and start throwing stuff around and saying we stink and this and that. But I mean, there's got to be a level of disappointment in the fact that the defense, it didn't look that great against the run. And I just look at certain things. How did they do against the run? And I mean, they gashed us, I think, 140 yards. I mean, DJ Dallas from the U. So, if that helps him make the team, I can't be hating on him. But they, didn't look good against the run. Mozzie, probably not his best game. I know he's getting a lot of heat on social media. It's going to be one of those things, and we've talked about it. I mean, that's a position. It's not a sexy position. It's there's going to be a learning curve for him with the NFL. He's going to be going up against some top offensive linemen. So he's going to have his ups and downs, but I still got a lot of confidence in him. I think they'll figure it out. Obviously, I got confidence in Quinn. I mean, things get different when you throw Tank in there. Things get a lot different when you throw Parsons in there. Things get a lot different when you got Gilmore and Diggs in there and really no starters playing. So, I mean, some, but more your rotational guys. So don't get too worked up and too crazy about preseason. Try and look at areas that you wanted to see improvement. So I wanted to see Rico and I wanted to see Malik do something. They didn't really do a whole lot. So they did a lot today. They stepped it up because they didn't look that great in the first one. So that makes you feel, made me feel a lot better. You want to see Tolbert. Can he do it again? He ends up having a really nice game. I think 66 yards, 4 catches, had a nice, deep pass. So those are the things that you gotta, you look for. You don't really look at the game as far as the scores and all that crap, but you got to look at what looked right and maybe what didn't look so good. And the defense, the secondary, which again, none of those secondary guys are going to be on the field much at all, unless they're injuries. So this is their opportunity to get depth, but they looked a little lost out there. They didn't look as sharp as we hoped. So good morning. Oh, another mom on there. Not playing the starters. Let's see, because yep. That's one of the things of not playing the starters is if someone got hurt, that's it. I know, Angelica, you're not worried. I like the positivity. So let's see. Mark, the thing with Mozzie clogging up the middle, have to cover the end when the running back's trying to bounce outside. Yeah, and that's one of the things that you saw. Boom, DJ cut outside. The other running back, who was the rookie running back, had a big run. So the run defense is, it's going to be a work in progress. I think it's something that'll be fine. I know it's a concern of a lot of us, and that's why I was, I didn't hate the Mozzie pick. I said, you get him, you get Hankins, you get Osa, don't know about Gallimore and Bohanna. Some of these guys, they, might be cut, might have to change the intro, but I told you we got a plan, and his name is Eugene Lockhart. So if something happens at the tailgate on 9/17, we're going to record our new intro. While Kelly's there, Eugene's there, Cowboy Nation's there. What better place to do it than to record the intro and get everything going for the show? So I'm not worried about all of that. Things will happen. So what were some of your positives? I'll tell you, we talked about the the Eugene Lockhart Hungry Player of the Week. These are my nominees. You guys let me know. It's preseason, so typically if we lose, I'm not gonna do that. But if we win, we want to definitely nominate a Hungry Player. But preseason, we're not going to get caught up in it. So these are my guys. This is what I'm.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.
So I went all offense. I went Rico, I went Malik, and I went Tolbert. I mean, that's my pick. Did I miss somebody? And remember, if I miss someone, you got to take someone off. So if you think I need to take someone off and put someone in, you got to tell me who that is. That way I know. So, but I went with Rico and Malik. You saw what Duece did on his first carry, touchdown, beautiful, nice run. Didn't do a whole lot after that. So I'd like to see Duece start the game. I'd like to see him get some reps against the other team's second team. Some of them, it's even their first team players. You saw Geno Smith out there. You saw some offensive weapons out there for Seattle. You also saw a lot of their defensive guys out there. So that's one of the things I wouldn't mind seeing Duece going, with the Raiders. And typically your last preseason game, nobody is going to play much. But with the NFL going to 3, maybe they may throw some guys out there. So, what's your thoughts on the hungry player of the week? If I were to pick one of the 3, I've got to maybe go. I think I'm going to go Rico, because Tolbert, I kind of expected it, but Rico, I was down on Rico. I'll be honest with you. That fumble and everything else, I'm like, man, this guy, they're anointing him the backup. Man, I got to see something. And I thought he showed something. What's up, Clarence? What's up? Yeah, make sure you guys hit that like, hit that subscribe. We're getting so many new subscribers every day, so make sure you guys hit that if you could. Tolbert, Troy, you can't argue with that. Tolbert. I mean, the thing with Tolbert, we talked about it a little bit last night. It's got to give you a good feeling to see him playing to the capabilities and the talent that we all figured, he had. And if you watched him in college, and I watched him in college, this is the kind of Tolbert that you saw at South Alabama. And unfortunately, we're not going to look back, but that first year, just, for whatever reason, things didn't really go right to get him going. But the thing that I'll say is everyone's kind of pushing Gallup. Gallup's back, second year. This is it. You don't know. Is Gallup going to be the Gallup pre-injury, or is Gallup going to be kind of the guy that we saw last season? If he's kind of the guy we saw last season, I'm feeling pretty good that Tolbert's stepping up, because that's making me feel better that we've got a guy that can pick up the slack. So I am liking what I see in Tolbert, and it's going to be one of those things. He's going to be competing for some playing time, but if he can just make those critical plays when called upon, almost like what you saw, Cedric Wilson did that one year. Hey, he had key catches and key moments, key plays and key moments. That's really what you're looking for. And yeah, Duece is special. I mean, that run, man, first carry, 14-yard touchdown, man. That was awesome. Yeah. Tolbert looking like a wide receiver. And I mean, and that's the thing. If you're in the NFL, eventually some of these guys, Gallup may go or Cooks may go. You're going to need someone to keep moving up the depth chart. I think Dak should play a series with the starters next game. I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't be against it. The thing I'd say is by now, if you give him one series, what's that going to do? I mean, because if you go, let's say they go 3 and out, do you say, well, let's give him 2 series? Let's go 3 and out again. Let's give him 3 series. So it's one of those things of, I don't know. I think it's probably going to be too late. I would have liked to seen him in this game play, but definitely not with that offensive line that we saw. What's up? Hey, I can't see all that. So it looks like Banks. I'm going to say Banks. Hopefully I don't want to butcher these names. So appreciate you jumping in. I think you look new. I don't know if you've just been quiet or if you're a new subscriber. If you are, we do appreciate it. If you are quiet, we definitely want to hear more from you. And let's see, Doug, can't play Dak unless you play. Oh, yeah, that offensive line. That's what I was talking about. That offensive line, I think the offensive line, we need to keep all our fingers crossed. If you got the voodoos, you got all the stuff. We don't want any injuries. We know it's going to happen, but if there are some injuries, just make them minimal, because that offensive line, the backups, they are not looking good at all. So we got to get something going there. And yeah. Simi, I think Simi's gone. I don't know. I just think Simi's days are numbered. I think I think the depth that you have at receiver now with obviously Tolbert. I mean, you've had Brooks that's been, those two are the 2 starters. You didn't really see Simi till later. So I don't know, what that means. Maybe it's situational, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. But my initial reaction is probably Simi's going to be he's going to be on the outs. Let's see. Let's see what we got. Ultra Cowboys overshot. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I know. Ultras, you're quick to react. I mean, Schoonmaker, you told me was going to be the next coming. So if he is, then why would I guess the draft class would be fine. I think Mozzie's going to be fine. Is he going to be, 12 sack? That's not his game. But I think eventually you're going to see him progress each week. I mean, you look at Russell Maryland when the Cowboys drafted him. They drafted him 1 overall. He, it wasn't sexy. He didn't. You look at his career, and some even said he was a bust. But I mean, he was part of a lot of Super Bowls, and he was an integral part of that defensive front that kept going. So I don't know if he was a bust. I wouldn't call him that. But he never was the sexy guy. He never put up the huge stats. He did the dirty work. And I think with Mozzie, that's what you're going to see. At the end of his career, you may say, hey, well, he didn't have a ton of sacks, didn't like that, because everyone's always looking at the stat sheet for everything. Look at your eyes. Look at what he's doing. With his career, as his career goes on, and see what the impact he's made, maybe for the edge, maybe for the linebackers. So that's what I'm saying is, man, just hold it down a little bit, hold it down. Don't start jumping ship and hitting the panic button already, man. It's you just gotta relax. So, but yeah, the overshown injury it sucks. It sucks because he just looks special. And I didn't get to see him playing college. I know Ultra, you were really high on him. I know a lot of people in the chat were really high on him because you got all from Texas, and you guys are Texas Longhorns, so you saw him a hell of a lot more than I did. But hopefully he comes back, and maybe by some miracle it's not as serious as we thought. We saw him walking off. After the game, they didn't really have a brace, didn't really have anything on, but that really doesn't mean anything. I mean, so I know people that, dealt with an ACL, walked around and, lived their life for a while because they're holding off surgery. So it's, keep our fingers crossed, but more than likely it's not looking good. Hey, what's up, Christopher? Thanks for jumping in the cave. Let's see, wide receiver room. Yeah. I mean, that was the area, some people after Gallup, what do we have? And I tell you, the wide receiver room's deep. There's going to be some tough cuts. I mean, you saw Turpin out there, and he was making some plays and doing his thing. So it's going to be it's going to be some tough decisions come cut day, especially at certain groups. And I think cornerback is going to be one of those, even though none of them look that great in this last game. But who do you keep? Who do you cut? Wide receiver is going to be tough. Tight end is going to be one of those because you got Ferguson, you got Schoonmaker. You're seeing what John Stevens Jr. is doing. Hendershot. You got the other kid who's more of a blocking one. So I mean, you got 5 tight ends there. That's going to make it pretty interesting to see who goes and who stays. I'm hearing Hendershot is on thin ice and could be one of those guys that could be cut. What's up, EJ? Make sure you guys, Cowboys in the Zone, if you're not subscribed or following EJ on YouTube and social media, make sure you guys do. Man he does some good content. You can never have enough good Cowboys content, right? So let's see. Yeah, going back to the chat, see what we got. See any hate. So don't have to be clogged the middle. That's what it is. Ultra, CD, Cooks, Gallup, Tolbert, Turbin. Yep. I mean, that's probably what you're going to see at receiver. I think Simi's going to be the odd man out for sure. And I think a couple of those other guys that made a few plays. Who was that other Drummond had a couple catches. Obviously, Houston's been around. You got Cropper, who they were high on, at least in Cowboys Nation. So there's going to be some guys that they're stashing. They're stashing in the on the practice squad. So let's see. We go. Hey, Mike, you moved your set. Yeah. Well, here's what I did. So I have this table, and we did the happy hour. So typically I'm sitting the other way on the small little table. I don't have a studio. So my wife won't give me the spare room. That's, the guest room in there is bed and all that. There's not enough room. So I tried to do that. It wasn't really easy. And then we did the happy hour. So I need to have my popcorn, need to have my drinks and all that. So I had to spread everything out. So I have a folding table that is my studio table and have everything, and I actually like it. The only problem is it's just in the way. So I have cameos. I got 2 cameos I got to do after this for preseason or for fantasy football draft pick to draft the orders. So as soon as I get done, this is what I do. You guys are going to get inside stuff. When I do a cameo, I do not, you're not going to get the camera in your face. You get the full Mike Tag Cowboys Cave experience, the entrance, everything. So I memorized what they need. I'm going to pick their draft orders. So the table's going to go away. So you're going to see Monday, I'm going to be back to normal and say, man, what the hell's going on? So, but I do like the table. It's just football season's here and I need to watch the games. So unless I could figure out a way to do it, but that's a long story of your question. So sorry I babbled. Let's see what else we got going on. We got EJ posted all the Tolbert highlights last night on Twitter. Yep, definitely saw those. I mean, he's playing good. Let's see. Doug saw that. Tolbert made me eat my words in 2 years. Look at that. That's the thing. I got to give Ultra respect, because he's been on Tolbert, man. He's got booty. He called him trash. He called him a waste. He called him all this stuff. And, the thing I'll give Ultra, he's tough sometimes. He drives me nuts, but I do love him, is he speaks his mind and he says the way he feels. And if he's wrong, he's never been one to say, hey man, he's not going to go down with the ship saying this guy's terrible or this or that. He's going to be objective. So Ultra, that's the one thing I'll always give you, man. I know you're hard on me sometimes, not so much me, maybe Kelly, but you always speak your mind. So you can never not respect that. And so anyway, let's see. Troy, Taylor, my small following tail. It makes it easy. But it's not aesthetically pleasing. And just so you guys know, you one catch negative yards. I had the ceremony yesterday. Zeke, unfortunately, has been removed from the cave. The only thing I kept, if you look over that shoulder, there's a black helmet. You can't really see it because I have some graphics in front of it, but there is a black helmet, and I left that only because I don't have another helmet. There's the helmet over there. I don't have another helmet to put in its place, so I have to keep that. Otherwise, it looks stupid. So that is there, but I did take Zeke out. He's in the waiting room. He's in the waiting room in a cabinet. All his stuff is there, nice and neat, so nothing gets damaged and nothing gets hurt. But I've got to stick with my guns. And if you're a current player and you're not on the Cowboys, I don't want to say you're the enemy, but I can't support. I support you as long as you're not against the Cowboys, but I can't have you in here because then it just, to me, it gives it. I feel like there's bad vibes. So that's yeah. So that's my place on that. And yeah, so yeah, EJ. Last night was a long night. I live in on the East Coast. The game starting at 10. More importantly, that O'Malley fight, Jesus. I mean, that dude, what a fight. It was quick, but he don't look the part. I mean, but he has some heavy hands, man. He gave that dude a beating, and won a championship, won his title. So he's fun to watch, and he's definitely entertaining. So that made the night even longer. I didn't even get to bed till like 2:30 by the time you're done doing it. So Zeke making the Ring of Honor, no. I mean, just being honest with you. If you don't have Ed Too Tall Jones in the Ring of Honor, if you don't have Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Honor, I don't think Zeke makes it. Now, he had a great career with the Cowboys, third leading rusher. I don't want to say great, but a really good career with the Cowboys. I think it's going to be one of those. I mean, I think he falls into the Romos, into some of these guys that had really, really good careers with the Cowboys, but it just didn't get. Couldn't get that ring. And I look back to that 2016 season, and so special. 2017, the Cowboys got railroaded really bad by Goodell, and doing what they did to Zeke. I think it was terrible, but I think that I think they good career, but I think the Ring of Honor, it's got to be the elite of the elite in the organization, and I think Hall of Fame is there. You got to be in that, which is odd because Jimmy Johnson's a Hall of Famer. He's like one of the only Cowboys that's in the Hall of Fame that's not in the Ring of Honor. So take that for what it's worth. Darren Woodson's the other one, and I think we all agree that Darren Woodson's going to get in there, if not this year, very, very soon. He should be in there. So, bold prediction: the Cowboys side, Dalton. Is it Risner trade another big boy? Yeah, I don't know him that well, so you have to educate me on him. But I do think that they're going to be trying to trade some of their guys that they're going to cut to try and get some depth. But I think unfortunately, unless it's a situation where there's a contract thing that people aren't going to be trading a lot of depth. Now, if he's an offensive lineman, correct me, Ultra, if he's an offensive lineman or a linebacker. I think linebacker, I think they might see what they got in house, and they feel the depth is good there. And really, in a lot of the defenses now, I mean, you only have 2 linebackers out on the field. And you always got Curse that's got some versatility. So, but I do think on the offensive line, I'd be a little concerned. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'd be a little concerned if one of our starters go down. Tyron's gonna go down at some point. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? So, yeah. Let's see here. Overshown. Drew Sanders are my players that I wanted to see in DQ's defense. So, yeah, Overshown. Hopefully he gets back. So. And hopefully Angelica's talking about Jimmy Johnson. Should have been there a long time ago. I definitely think Jimmy Johnson. It's really terrible. Trying to catch up with this. He's a guard. Okay, yeah. If he's a guard and offensive line, man, I please, if he's good, I'm going to trust you, Ultra, because you've been on point a lot. Get me somebody. I need somebody, as Eugene Lockhart says. I don't know about you guys. I was texting Kelly, yesterday. That hungry, I love it, but 2, it's addicting. I say it all the time. I walk around the house, and that's what I get these sayings in my head. So my wife, I think she's probably getting tired of me saying that. So yeah, the practice at the Star next week. That's where I need you guys to help me out too. Obviously Oxnard is where to go. Long trip, not cheap. I might be able to swing a practice at the Star one time. Probably a little too late for this year, but let me know if that's fun, if that's cool. Is it engaging? Is there, is it just kind of like you're sitting there and they walk around and there's really not a lot of fun to it. So, yeah, let me know if anyone goes there. Definitely let me know. And let's see. Did you leave your ex in your will? That's how Jerry views the Ring of Honor. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an ex, but I would say, let's just say hypothetical. If God forbid I did have an ex and something happened in my marriage, my wife's been with me for some time and help build everything that we have together. So she would be entitled to half of everything I have. That's half of the cave, half of the house, half of the savings, half of the retirement. So yeah. So I do. I don't know what your point is, but I'd still say Jimmy Johnson is in there. So anyway, that's the way I look at it. You'll never convince me otherwise. So that's just the way it is. So, and what else we got? Will Greer. Yeah, that pick. What are you talking about? That pick last night. Oh, just terrible. Is this another new subscriber viewer? You've been quiet because I don't remember Marvin, man. You guys let me know if you guys are new. I appreciate it. Anyone in the chat now, make sure you hit that like. All you gotta do is there's a little like button. Hit that like button. That helps, man. Our last Sunday show got almost 2,000 views, got a ton of hours, a lot of engagement, and that's helped spreads the word. So, like I said, it don't cost you guys nothing to help the Cowboys cave out. All of the little loyalty, maybe hitting that like button, sharing it on social media, letting all the Cowboys Nation know, hey man, Mike Tagg's got a show. He's having a good time. We're hanging out. We're talking football as fans. So definitely, if you guys can do that, I would. I'd appreciate it. Let's see. I'm getting so many. Half the kids. Fortunately, my kids they're almost gone. My son's 19. He's starting his first year of college, and my daughter is going to be 17. I don't know if you guys. I should do a picture of then and now. If you guys followed me long enough, my daughter was always in my videos. She did some herself. She memorized them, and then she got to the point where it wasn't cool anymore. So she does her own YouTube stuff, and she has a great little channel with her and her friend. They do different vlogs and stuff like that. But the cowboy entrance thing, I guess, wasn't cool. So I got to do it all by myself now. So it's just me. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, so I tell you, she'll be 25 before you know it. That's the only thing Angelica, you'd appreciate it, is like they're they grow up fast, but it's just so funny the change you saw in her from the first one till now. She's a young woman, great person. So definitely blessed to have two great kids and great family. So let's see what else we got here. And I try and tune in every show, but those fantasy shows have the Dak slander. I know, and look, and we got Vince. Vince is a good guy. The show is fun. It's supposed to, they do give good information, but if you just to give you the backstory on the fantasy show, and I'm going to be popping in every now and then, and Jimmy will pop in, and maybe Kelly. He did the intro for him, but it's basically it's almost like family. So Jason's a host. Him and I work together. We've worked together for 10 years. Known him a long time. Obviously, Disco D is my brother, so I've known him forever. My son, I've known him forever, and then Vince is another a co-worker, but he's more like family. So it is just you can see the bickering, you see the smart aleck remarks, the smart comments, and this and that. I always told him, you guys got to ease up on the family stuff, because you do know that this show goes out, and whatever you say, someone in the family might see it and may not be too happy if you say the wrong thing. So they're learning, but it's a lot of fun. It's just something that they wanted to have their crack at it. And really more my brother was critical of some of the earlier shows. You need to do this, and you need to say that, you got to do that. Yeah, I said, man, it ain't that easy sitting in front of a camera and talking, especially if you don't have co-hosts sometimes, and you're just talking to the people in the chat and people who are watching. It's not an easy thing. So I've always respected the content creators, and that's why I'm telling you, it's fun. It's something I love doing, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. But it ain't easy. So anytime you can support them, and like I said, I'm one of those trolls, so I don't really comment. But I watch Tuck all the time. I'll watch Law Nation, West Coast Knicks, EJ, Boys in the Zone, Cowboys Can Fan, Phil and Brian. There's so many good ones. I'm going to forget someone, so I'm going to get in trouble. So I'll stop while I'm ahead. But there's so many good ones that I'll just sit while I'm driving and just pop them in there. And that's a good thing with YouTube. You can just listen to the audio, just let the thing play and listen to the audio. So, I saw our other linebacker, was it Malik Jefferson? He went down too. So, Isaiah Simmons to replace Overshown. Yeah, I don't know if they're just going to go out. I just think if you've got Damone Clark, you got LVE, you got Jabril Cox, obviously you got some versatility with Curse. I don't know if they're going to go running out. You got Harper. I don't know if they're just going to go running out to replace him. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'm more concerned on I'd like to see them make some moves on the offensive line. And again, the problem with the offensive line is that's a problem for everyone. So I know everyone's panicking and said, man, the depth in our offensive line is shit. It's terrible. But I think for most teams, there is going to be that big drop off. It's hard to get really good offensive linemen and get the depth. But yeah, I think Jabril is the next man up, and I know here we go. Now he's on a new one, so Jabril Cox's booty. So all right, so I like that you did that, Ultra, because so far, like when you say a guy's booty, they turn out and prove you wrong. So maybe you got this mental thing. Maybe this is reverse psychology. You're putting it out there to get your bro Cox, to go up. So yeah. So anyway, it's yeah, 5 kids. Holy smokes! I don't know what I would do with 5 kids. Now I come from a family of 4, but my sister she was born 12 years later than me, so there was a huge gap there. So it was really, growing up as a kid, it was me and my 2 older brothers, and that was a handful. So I can't imagine having 5, and that would be, yeah, that would be crazy. So best of luck to you. Once we had my son and then the daughter, my wife and I was like, look, we got one of each. What more could you ask for? They're both healthy. We're happy. Stop. So we ended up doing that. Let's see. Get Sean Lee on the phone. What's it? Yeah, he's one I'd love to definitely reach out to. So he's one of those guys on the list. Speaking of, I'm telling you, if you guys watch, I don't know if you guys watch the Deep Blue. So it's the series that the Dallas Cowboys do on DallasCowboy.com. It's on YouTube, and they usually do it before each preseason game. They do one of their videos, and it's this. The last one was on the '86 Cowboys and the Tom Landry game where there was a threat against his life, that there was an active shooter in the stadium. They pulled him off, got the vest on. Well, our guest Thursday, that was Mike Sherrard. Just by chance, it wasn't planned, but Mike Sherrard was a Cowboys first-round draft pick in '86, wide receiver. Had a great rookie season. Ended up, having some bad knee injuries. Thought it was all going to be career ending, but ended up coming back, playing for San Francisco, won a Super Bowl with San Francisco when they beat the hell out of Denver, and then ended up another injury, and then goes to the Giants and has a couple good years there. Then went to Denver, so he played with Joe Montana, played with John Elway, but in that '86 season, the Cowboys were. Everyone thought they were kind of on the decline, but then they had this huge, start to the season. You got Herschel Walker got there. Obviously they, with Sherrard, and everything was looking right for the Cowboys. And then Danny White got killed by, I think it was Carl Banks, broke his wrist, and they won one game after that. So they were like 6-2, and they ended up finishing 7-9, 3-13. Tom Landry's gone. The team just went downhill. So Mike Sherrard's going to be on. So it's going to be very interesting to get those stories of that Cowboys season and right in there. And then, of course, being on the other side, being a 49er with the Cowboys, the Giants, during he was there in the seasons like that Emmitt Smith game where we, came down to the last game. So he's going to be a really, really fun interview. Yeah, I love the history. I love these stories. When you get former players on, you get Sean Lee on. They're candid. I mean, sometimes you get a current player, you see it when you interview them. It's like they're robotic. They don't want to say anything. You got to be careful. When you get these retired guys on, man, they don't care. They're going to say how it is, good, bad, or indifferent. So if you're new to the channel, you're watching this for the first time, we've got probably 20 plus interviews with former players, from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. We cover all generations of the Cowboys and really Miami Hurricanes too. I'm from, a U fan, but we also had the other side. You had JT Thomas, 4-time Super Bowl champion. He was in the Steel Curtain, and you talked about those games with the Cowboys and the rivalry that they had. And, he still said it. I forgot who was with him, but he said it in the show. He's like, they walked out on the field. His teammate looked at him. He said, "Man, we won this game." He's like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Look at the eyes. Look at the eyes of Roger Staubach and the Cow." He goes, "They're scared. The fear is in their eyes, and they end up winning." So I don't know how much that's true or hate or whatever it is, but it's definitely a lot of fun. Yeah, 2 Live Crew. Hey, I love me some 2 Live Crew. I saw 2 Live Crew in concert, as a kid growing up, and I don't know if I'd play 2 Live Crew with my kids in the car now, but it's one of that thing with rap music. Not to get on a tangent again, but I grew up listening in the era of the '90s and late '80s and the '90s, and rap music to me was when it was at its best. But it was a lot of questionable stuff, questionable language, this and that. But we never thought too much of it. It was all fun. It was all whatever. I can't imagine that music today what it would do to some of these people in their houses. They probably end up going crazy. But yeah. So anyway, let's see what we got going on here. Sorry, I got sidetracked. Let me catch up on the chat. I think the Cardinals are putting you guys are doing some internal stuff. Let's see. We got Harper runs a 4.4 and good. And then Smith goes down. He's a baller. Yep. No, we definitely we got some stuff there. We got depth of defense. I am not worried about our defense. Like I said, it is all about, to me, the offensive line. The running back, I felt a little better, but it's one game. So, if Kareem Hunt, or if there is a veteran out there, do you look at him? Do you say, well, maybe we just bring him in? Because, as the days go by, the prices all go down, and you just kind of see it's just going to go down, 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 down. But I'm just still a little, I don't want to say nervous, but just uneasy of the running back depth and having a guy that's going to grind it out. Now, Ronald Jones is, he was kind of brought in to be that guy, the dirty yards, short yardage, be that. Obviously, he's missing a couple games with some PED suspension. So, can he get those yards for us? Ultras, he's been my man. He says we're good at running back. He's been consistent with that. So I'm hoping we are. But I love, I'm a running back guy. I think Pollard's going to be dynamite. I think Duece is going to end up getting most of the carries opposite of Pollard. But I think in situational football, situational parts of the game, I think that's where we need to just make sure we've got a guy that's going to be tough, get those tough, dirty yards. And you saw Malik Davis do it, last night. Rico got some dirty yards, and so that made me definitely feel a lot better. So let's see. DQ's like Shanahan for the defense. Yeah, I think he does. I think he's definitely. I hope he stays a defensive coordinator. I know there's a lot of talk if Dallas doesn't win the Super Bowl, we're going to fire McCarthy and we'll make DQ the coordinator. And sometimes that isn't always the best thing. He did good in Atlanta. Obviously they had that magical season. Matt Ryan winning NFL MVP didn't hurt. You had Shanahan as his coordinator on offense, which was nice until the Super Bowl. He got a little arrogant and cost them a Super Bowl championship. But if you take DQ and make him the head coach, he's not going to be the defensive coordinator. And, his defenses in Atlanta weren't all that great. But you got to have talent. Obviously, that makes a big difference. But I'm just saying, sometimes coaches make, the coordinators, that's what they do best. And that head coach is really more your CEO. And he's more of the guy, the organizational guy, the delegate, this and that. And, maybe Dan Quinn's best being a hands-on guy. You see him, he's so involved in the defense at every level. He's on the practice fields with the pads. He's working those guys. And I don't know, everyone wants to be the leader. So don't get me wrong. Everyone wants to be the head coach, and being a head coach of the Cowboys is, it's pretty, it's pretty high level. It's like the Yankees or or those Lakers or something like that. But, I'm hoping Dan Quinn's kind of at the point of his life and the point of his career where he's saying, hey, you know what? I got this great defense. I've got all young guys. These guys, there's a lot of youth on that team, a lot of speed on that team. He can have a lot of fun. And he's probably, I don't know what he's getting paid, but he's probably getting paid as much as a coach would, if not close to it, because I know they brought him back. So I'm hoping he stays. So I'm not signing an OT that is eligible for pass on Peters. Yeah, the only thing with Peters is he just, if you look at him like last year, I think where he earned his paycheck was really mentoring, Tyler Smith. And I think if obviously Tyron was out, so then when he came back, but I think with Peters, there's a value there. There's a value for a veteran that you feel comfortable with, right? You're not asking him to play 16 games. You're not asking, I would never want to sign him for that. But if you want to sign him just to be a stopgap, just to be, some almost a coach on the field and work with these guys. I think it wouldn't be bad. You're not gonna pay a lot for him. He's not the long-term answer by any stretch, but I think if there was a spot, I wouldn't be opposed to bringing Peters back. Plus it pisses the Eagles fans off. So that makes it even better. So let's see. The middle of our offensive line is strong. We only worry about Tyron Smith. Yep, and our 5th-round pick is getting better at practice. Yeah, Richards is looking good. I mean, but we know typically rookies, you throw them out there, it's going to be trouble. But he's a guy that I think has definitely shown a lot of potential. I saw him at Carolina, when they beat the hell out of my Hurricanes. So I mean, he's definitely shown some potential. And to your point, it's really what is going to happen with Tyron Smith. It's not if, it's when. And he's going to go down. And do we have a guy that we're comfortable with that's going to be? Was Lecco the guy? Now he got hurt. I mean, he didn't look great. So it's one of those things, man. I just don't know. I mean, if you can get a veteran guy, I would be for it. So again, everything is, don't panic, Cowboys Nation. Everything is fine. Preseason, we're not going to get too worked up over it. I do want to see in it, this Raiders game, you're going to be playing most of your backups. I just want to see certain guys. I want to see certain things. I want to see us stopping the run. I want to see us, gelling together, on offense, even on the offensive line. Receivers, like I said, we're stacked there. Running back looks to be pretty comfortable. Quarterback, I mean, I know a lot of people are I think some people are waiting to see Will Grier jump ahead because Will Grier has more talent. He has more this and that. But I'm going to stick with Cooper Rush, especially after what I've seen. But with Cooper Rush, there's a level of calmness. I mean, I know what he did. If Dak, God forbid, got hurt, Cooper Rush came in and he went 4-1. He beat Burrow when everyone buried us. I was at that game. He beat Burrow. So, he beat the Giants on the road on Monday night. He beat the Rams before the Rams were kind of, circling the drain. He was beating them. So I'm going with Cooper Rush as my number 2. If you can keep, Grier there, you can keep your third quarterback fine. He's serviceable, but he just hasn't lived up to that potential that you saw at West Virginia. He started in Florida. He had a lot of upside, but it just hasn't translated for some reason. Just bad decisions. I mean, that interception in the end, I mean, that stuff can't happen. Can't happen. I don't care, what it is, preseason, practice, whatever it is, man. You're clocking your, in your mind and everything in your head says, I mean, I cannot throw a bad pass in the end zone or right to the end zone. I mean, those are taking points away. So I just think, yeah. And again, all the new people, make sure you hit that like, make sure you hit that subscribe. I don't say it enough. If you're new to the channel, I see so many new people in the chat. So I personally, again, I want to thank you guys again for it. But the way you can really thank me is hitting that subscribe, hitting that like, and spreading the word to Cowboys Nation. Yeah, he might be the definition of booty. Now that I'll give you. So maybe we'll do a segment, the ultra booty player of the week now. And he probably would be that one. So let's see. CR is battle proven in the regular season and in the stopgap. Yep, Cooper Rush is, that I agree with you 100%. He should be the number 2. And there shouldn't be really any question about it because we've seen what he can do. Minnesota, that was the other game, right? Isn't that the game we beat the hell out of Minnesota? And I've gotten arguments, with family talking about Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott. Now, we all may be biased in the chat. If you're not, if you really think Kirk Cousins is better than Dak, I would love to hear it. And I would love to understand your reasoning. I don't get it. I think Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback, so I'm not knocking him in any way, but I think Dak is a better quarterback. I think he's a better leader. I think he's maybe he's better in bigger games. Maybe not the playoff game. We had a bad playoff game, but Kirk Cousins just seems to have a history of playing bad in big games, whether it be regular season or playoffs. So I just we got in this argument with my nephew, or my son got in an argument with nephew over it. And I know people just say stuff that just kind of piss you off. But the problem, the challenge that Dak has is here. Let's see. Yep. Of course, Angelica knows it. Falcon 2 years ago. Yep, we always have to remind them of that. Kirk Cousins robbed the Vikings blind with a mask and gun. Yeah, and so yeah. Let's see what. Let me get Ultra in there about if Amazi's better with the double teams and the one-on-one. Yeah, maybe he's one of those guys. He hulks up, man. You think you're going to throw two people on me. I'm going to hulk up, and maybe one-on-one. Maybe he lets a little off, thinking, I'll just I'm going to use my power and take care of it. But there's a lot of technique involved too. So that's that may be something there. Because I've seen three guys on him. But going back to Cousins. The thing with Dak, and it's for whatever reason, and Cousins is a good example. There's some other quarterbacks that you could throw as an example. It's like they get a pass, and Dak really doesn't get much of a pass. And you look at the team last year, and he had. I mean, I'm not gonna say he didn't have weapons, but his number 2 receiver was Noah Brown. Um, you know, he was, missed 5 games. Yeah, he had the turnovers. He's never been a turnover guy. So if he was consistent with that, then I would say, you know what, the turnovers are a problem. It's a problem. It's been a consistent problem. But every year before last year, it never really was an issue. So, what's the common denominator? Where's it at? So I think Dak's turnovers are going to be back to normal. I mean, you're always going to have some turnovers. You got to take some chances. And, it's not a perfect game. You're never going to be perfect. But I think his turnovers will come down. But the media just beats it in your head so much, this national media. And you see it on Twitter. And then you see it on, the ESPN and all these guys, that you start to believe it. And the casual fan starts to believe it. And I don't want to get political, but it's no different if you listen to Fox, CNN, MSNBC, any of those news channels. They repeat the same thing every hour. So whatever your affiliation is, one side or the other, if you listen to the other side, if you listen to it all day, you're going to start thinking, well, yeah, man, that makes some sense. Yeah, he does stay. Yeah, this, that, whatever. So I think a lot of times you get the media, gets the casual fan, because I know Kelly said he argued with a guy at a restaurant about it. And then by the end, the guy's like, yeah, maybe, yeah, Dak, he is good. I must be wrong. And you start really peeling the onion, and you start looking at it, and you start going through everything. Dak's a pretty good quarterback. Is he the top quarterback? No. Is he top 5 quarterback? Probably not. I mean, if you're just going to go everything, there, but who cares? I mean, he's definitely top 10, but let's say he's 8. So what? I can give you a ton of quarterbacks that were, on the, between 5 and, ranked 5 and 10 that won Super Bowls. You don't have to be the top quarterback to win a Super Bowl. There's a Patrick Mahomes. I mean, you got to get Patrick Mahomes. There's Patrick Mahomes and everyone else. And I think there's a big gap when you're talking, with quarterback. Don't, some idiot on an Eagle fan, and it just shows how stupid some of them are. They had Jalen Hurts as the number 1 quarterback in the NFL. I mean, if you talk to any normal, average, knowledgeable Cowboys fan, I don't think a Cowboys fan around is going to tell you that Dak is number 1 in the NFL. I don't think they tell you he's number 2. I think you might get some that say 4, 5, 6, anywhere from 4 to 8. But I'm telling you, after you get done with a couple, you get done with Mahomes and Burrow. Some people throw Allen in the mix, but I would even put the Allen down to 10. You can just put them in a blender, and whichever one you rank them, you can make a fair argument for however way you rank those guys. But to me, Mahomes and Burrow are your clear 1 and 2. And I think the guy that you got to watch out for is going to be coming up is going to be Trevor Lawrence. I just think, watch the Jaguars. The Jaguars, like I said, when we played them, when that schedule came out, I did not like that we played him at the end of the season. I wanted to play him early. And that's when you look at this schedule and you look at everything. You can chalk up the W's and you go through. It's when you play these teams. We play the Jets early. I'm glad we play them early. I think the Jets, if everything works out, they get their offensive line situation, they're going to become a more dangerous team as the year goes on, because Rodgers is going to get acclimated with the team, the receivers, you build the chemistry, the line, all that stuff that goes with it. I think that's, so if the Eagles were playing them later, I'm not sure when they play them, I would be, if I was an Eagle fan, I'm like, shoot, man, why couldn't we play them early? And that's where, a lot of this comes down to. So anyway, let's see. The Cowboys have potential to be a top. No, they've been a top offense. They've been a top offense for years, and maybe the offensive numbers this year, maybe not, are going to be so dynamic. Because I think with the Cowboys, I think what you're going to see with McCarthy. I don't want to say more conservative play, but I think he's going to put his guys in positions or let the receivers do run after catch. Get them in space. You really saw a lot of the Cowboys the way the offense up with the curls and all that crap and the option routes. I never seen us wide open like I see some other teams. So I think he's going to do that, but I think he's going to play, more controlled football with the running game. When we're winning, I'm saying that because I think our defense is going to be that good. It's going to be one of those things is don't put the defense in bad positions. A punt isn't the worst thing if you're in a long situation or you're backed up on your side of the field or something like that. So, maybe the numbers may not be number one or number two, but I think talent wise, and I think the ability to where if we got to get in a shootout, we got the guys to do it. If we got to get dirty and we got to play a dirty close game, we got the defense to do it and we got the offense that can do it. So I think the balance that this Cowboys team had, the depth that they have it's better than any year since the 90s. I hate to go back to the 90s, but that's just, that's when we won our Super Bowl, so we got to do it. But that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing. So Cowboys 38-9. I'm going to be there, so I'll be happy if that's the case. But I think the Cowboys are going to beat the Jets. I've been on record to say it. So I've been on record to say that, and I think that'll be it. So let's see the player. Who are we talking about? Must be talking about not as good leader, not a good reader of the defense. He fails against the fans will want him back for the 9th season. Are we talking about Dak? Are we talking about Dak, Leonard? This is going to be. I don't know if you are. Tell me if you are. I'm trying to catch up on everything because I definitely want to answer that. Yeah, I want to know who's hungry. I want to know who's hungry. And like I said, for all the new people, we had the Eugene Lockhart Hungry Player of the Week. And these are my nominees. So let me know.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.
So let me know if you agree or disagree. We're gonna have a vote out there, and we'll be talking about it on Thursday. And it's going to be a ritual we do when the Cowboys win. Preseason, not so much. We're going to put whoever's out there. So we'll put it out there. But yeah, the Cowboys. Let's see. Cowboys will start the season 6-0. Wow, 6-0. I hope so. I think, what did I have them? I thought I'd have to go back to the schedule. I had a couple games in there. Like, I know a lot of people are going to kill me. And again, it's just my thought process when I did the schedule. I think I had us losing in New England. This was before Zeke. I had us losing in New England because I just think the Cowboys are going to look ahead to San Francisco, and they're going to beat San Francisco in San Francisco. So I think sometimes you get those trap games, and it's the NFL. So, I mean, those things happen. Yeah, Jalen Tolbert can't argue. Now, mine was Rico only because I was down on him. I was down on him a lot at the first game. So my hungry player of the week was Rico. And just to be clear with the hungry player of the week, if you listen to the full interview or the show we did with Eugene Lockhart, he was talking about you got all these guys that, obviously the Dax, the CDs, but you want a guy that, we need some guys that are hungry on this team that bring their lunch bucket to work, lunch pail to work. And this, that whole blue collar mentality that you do need on your team. You're going to have the stars that get all the recognition, but you need those other guys that don't get the credit, but they're vital to the success of the game and the win. And maybe they make some plays here and there, some unexpected stuff. So that's where we're coming up with. That's why we said, we're going to make the hungry player of the week. So that's what we're really looking at. So during the season, if you're new, you may say, Jesus, Dak threw for 500 yards and you got Jalen Tolbert as your hungry player of the week. Well, maybe Jalen Tolbert has some key third down conversions and maybe got a touchdown and he's your fourth receiver, but he could play big, or maybe it's your backup running. Maybe it could be a Duece Vaughn, or it could be, one of the defensive guys, a Jabril Cox, someone who came in and did something. So that's what we're doing. So that it should be fun, but we want to get you guys, in there. We got 0-2. Who is 0-2 start? Man, my man Leonard, I don't know. You got to be on something, but I'm going to remember that. I'm going to remember it, and don't hide. don't hide when that don't happen. There is no way the Cowboys are starting 0-2. We own the Giants, first of all. The Giants couldn't beat us on Monday night with our backup quarterback. And Dak absolutely owns the Giants. So I don't see that changing. And I'll be on record to say I don't think the Giants are any good. How about that? I think they're going to be. I think a lot of people are like, don't sleep on the Giants. I don't think the Giants are that good. So that's my opinion there. And we do need some good comedy. So 0-2. But if they start 0-2, I expect you to come back here and laugh at me. But I don't think it is. But when we start 2-0, don't be hiding. You come on here. You be like my man Ultra. If you made a miscalculation, you come on here and say, hey, Mike and Cowboys Nation, I said we'd be 0-2. I said you guys would be 0-2. I'm not going to say you because I don't even know if you're a fan of the Cowboys. And you're not. So I apologize. It showed that I know nothing, and please accept my apology. And I'd accept your apology, and there'll be no issues. Yeah, Tolbert. Let's see. Anyone going to the Dallas game versus Chargers? I would. That's one of the stadiums I want to go to. I just wish. I wish that I could go to that. I'm gonna one day. Situational football. That's what the hungry player. That's a hungry player like James Washington. I tell you what, James Washington. I know Emmitt Smith got that Super Bowl MVP, but boy, James Washington could have made a big. He made a big case that he should have got it. I mean, he played key plays. If you guys remember in that Super Bowl, the Cowboys were down at halftime against the Bills. James Washington, I believe, was a fumble recovery for a touchdown or something. I know he did. I know he had some turnovers, interception. I think he had a fumble recovery for a touchdown. He had something, but he made some big plays. Thomas Everett, again, he was another one, underrated guy on the Cowboys. Kelvin Martin, wide receiver. You guys remember the 49er playoff game. He was another one. Those are those hungry players that you need to have on your team. So that's where it's all coming from. So let's see. We got Ultra Leonard and Smelling. Yeah, I don't know about Leonard. I don't want to. Hey, I don't hate anyone on here that if you're contributing to the show. I don't want you guys agreeing with everything I said. Otherwise, it becomes boring. So if I'm saying something you don't believe in what I say, then I expect you to challenge me on it. And I know Ultra is good at that. Leonard seems to be good at that. He says we're going to be 0-2. Overshown. What's wrong with Overshown? Well, he is. If you're asking the injury, we don't know yet. They're doing an MRI, but all indications it's probably an ACL. Yeah, the Giants have a fantastic coach. I don't think they're that talented. I think they had an easy schedule. I think they had a lot of breaks that go their way. I don't believe in their quarterback, and I think it's a quarterback-driven league. If I'm proven wrong, then we'll see. I don't think Daniel Jones is a good quarterback. I don't think they've got really good receivers. You've got Barkley there. He's obviously a good running back when healthy. I don't believe in their defense. I am not worried about them in the least. I think they could probably finish last in the division. I think Washington could end up finishing ahead of them. So that's just my opinion. I could be proven wrong, but I don't know. I got to see it. The Giants have just been so bad. It's one of those things that I just got to see. Dallas offense will be explosive, lots of blowouts. I agree. No, and Rodgers has had our number. I mean, if you've watched the show, I've said it a million times. Rodgers has had our number. So, but I do think we have the Giants. So, all right, say we're 1-1. You said we'd be 0-2, but I think with the I think the problem, if you want to get into the game with Rodgers, the problem that he's going to have is his offensive line is not very good right now. And I don't know if they're going to get better in 2 weeks. Now, that's where I was telling you that you play them later. Maybe they gel. Maybe some things go to – but they're playing Rodgers at the right time. And I think he could be hurt pretty bad in that game. If that offensive line looks the way they do right now, and you've got the defensive front that we have and the ability to rush the passer that we have, it could be bad. It could end real bad for him. And I don't want to see no one get hurt. But, Rodgers isn't a young man anymore. He's not a young man. He's still dangerous. If you give him time in the pocket, make no mistake about it. He'll cut you up. But I think our defense is a lot better than their offense. I think our cornerbacks are better than, or can match up well against their receivers. They got Dalvin Cook now, so I mean their running game. You got Brees, you got Dalvin. That could, if we don't stop the run, then yeah, that could be a problem. But I just don't see. I just don't see it. I think the Jets are going to be good. I'm seeing 0-2. I'm seeing 0-3. People are saying I don't buy it. I think they could start 0-2 because I think they open in Buffalo, and then I think, or maybe they're home against Buffalo. I'm not sure, and then they play us. That's that's not good. That's not good. So, and Leonard, who's your team? Are you a Cowboys fan, or are you? And it's okay. I welcome all fans. So, it's it's definitely I welcome them all. So, let's see. Let's see. Cowboys by 20. Mike Calvin. Yeah. Yep. There you go. Right there, man. I've tried to get Calvin Martin. He's been tough. I really would love to, because he was there, a lot of the early years too. And I love, Dave Campbell wasn't, he was put in a bad situation as a head coach. I mean, let's make no mistake about it. I mean, that team was terrible, drafted terrible, everything. So he gets a lot of flack, with the coach and this and that. But I'm telling you, when you hear the story, and we talked about it and just that transit, I mean, I could just sit and I can listen to that all day. When we had Moose Johnston on recently, if you missed that one, if you're new to the channel, man, check that out. This just the evolution of that team and what they went through and where they come and where they ended up and all of that stuff. I mean, I can talk that stuff for days. Moose said, he said 40 minutes. We got to an hour, and I'm like, I got to cut it because I didn't want to be disrespectful. But yeah, so I could listen to him. I could listen to him all day. Yeah. Who? Shepard. God, are we still talking about that guy? No, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Let's see. I've got followed this team my whole life. I stopped drinking the Kool-Aid years ago. Well, it must have been a long time ago because we haven't been to the Super Bowl in 27 years. But see, that's the thing with some fans. And Leonard, and it's all good, man. I know, some of these fans, it's easy to hate. It's easy to be negative. It's easy. Team hasn't won in Super Bowl in 27 years. It's easy to say, well, I'll take the prediction. There's 32 teams. Only one's going to win the Super Bowl. So I'm just going to be negative. But the problem I have with fans like that is when the team wins, then they become like the biggest fans. And then they're back. Oh, I told you, man, this team's the best. That's the part that aggravates me with some fans. And I'm not, Leonard, I'm not saying you're that one, but I just always say is be consistent. I'm going to be a positive Cowboys fan. I've been a fan of theirs my whole life. It ain't going to change. There's a lot of history with the Cowboys with me. There's a lot of things of where I'm at with the Cowboys that I would say in a weird way I owe some of the success in my life to the Cowboys, just the way things kind of worked out in my life and the opportunities that opened up because of the Cowboys, being a fan of the Cowboys. So I'm always going to be loyal. I don't go in anything in life, work, sports, whatever I don't ever go in thinking I'm going to lose. So I'm not going to go in thinking the Cowboys are going to lose. When we were 3-13 for all those years, and you can ask my friends, you can ask my wife, I would tell everyone how we can win that game. Now we go out and get our ass kicked, but if you give me some time, let me get till Wednesday or Thursday, I'd tell you how we're going to win. And I tell you how this is how the Cowboys can do it. So I'm that type of fan. Call me a homer, call me, whatever it is, but I'm not going into the season thinking we're going to lose. It's a waste of time. Well, then why watch? Why am I going to invest my time and my money and my passion for something when I think we're going to lose? Do I get upset with them? Sure. Do I get? I'm not gonna. Not everything is sunshine and rainbows, as they say. I get pissed off with some of their draft. I get pissed off with some of their free agent signing. I get pissed off if they don't perform to what I think they can do, and we underachieve or there's mistakes made. But that's part of being a fan. But the one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not just say I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid anymore. I'm going to be negative. I'm just going to hate on them. It's not. It's just not gonna. It's just not the way. It's not the way I ride. So anyway, you must not listen, Leonard, because you're wrong about that. And so what am I missing? I'm missing some stuff here. What did my man Leonard? What did my man Leonard say? So that's the only problem. You guys do so good in the chats. Yeah. Love your team, win or lose. You're gonna have those tough years, man. It's gonna be it's going to be it's going to be tough. I don't know what Leonard said. I was trying to find it, but anyway, yeah, fans like that. I don't know. I don't know. So they didn't win without signing Dion. Remember that. Yeah, the thing is we can go through these debates all day long. I mean, Jimmy Johnson, and I know Ultras has something against Jimmy Johnson or whatever, and it's fine. Barry Switzer was on here. He said it was Jimmy Johnson. Dave Campo was a coach. He was a defensive coordinator on the team. He said it was Jimmy Johnson. Moose Johnston was the running back, fullback on the team. He said it was Jimmy Johnson. Everybody says it was Jimmy Johnson, but Jerry Jones and Ultra. I mean, now Barry Switzer's been on the show. Barry Switzer deserves a ton of credit. Not, the thing was 500 coaches can coach this team. No, they couldn't. There was one coach outside of Jimmy Johnson that can coach this team, and that was Barry Switzer, because he walked in to a team that just lost their two-time Super Bowl winning coach, and he was in a no-win situation. If they win, it's exactly what you're hearing today. Jimmy Johnson's ring. If they lose, he couldn't win. He screwed everything up. So that's what he walked into. Not many coaches can do that. Barry Switzer went in with all the staff. He won the staff over. He got the players over. So he gets a ton of credit for that Super Bowl. But make no mistake about it, the team, the core, the players, everything was Jimmy Johnson. And if you say anything different, you're just not being honest. You're just blind, because the people that were involved in it, the own coach of the team said Jimmy Johnson. The own coach of the team said, with Jerry came to me, I said, well, how stupid, how could you screw this up? I mean, he said it. Go watch the show. He said it, but he was also deserves a lot of credit, but that's just the way it is. I'm not going to beat a dead horse about it, but he won 2 national titles, really. And Dennis, he won a national title, and Dennis Erickson said that really the 2 national titles that Dennis Erickson won were because of Jimmy Johnson. So you could say he won 3 national titles. He was in Miami. They lost 1 game in 3 years, or 3 games, 1 game in 3 years, something like that. It was some weird number. The dude, I mean, don't shortchange Jimmy Johnson, my man. Don't. I mean, I love you, Ultra, but you're making yourself sound stupid, and you're not. You're a smart, intelligent football player. So do they win? Do they not win without Dion? I think they can win without. I think they could have won without Dion. Absolutely, I think they could have won without Dion, because Dion wasn't going back to San Francisco. He was going to Oakland or LA, whatever the hell it was. It was down to them. San Francisco was out of the mix. He wasn't going back there. So do we play 49ers without Dion, and we play our guys? And who do you get? Who would we have gotten if we didn't have Dion? You never know. But Dallas, they would have won the Super Bowl without Dion. So hate to say it. Don't want to hurt your feelings. But anyway, but yeah, Jimmy Johnson, he deserves a lot of the credit. Jimmy Johnson went into Miami, and I grew up in Miami, so I understand it. Jimmy Johnson went into Miami that it just was a bad situation with quarterback. I mean, you had Dan Marino, who people still wear Dan Marino jerseys down in Miami. Go to a Miami game. He's still the legend. He's the last good quarterback they had. I mean, really. I mean, go through it. And he walked into an aging Dan Marino. And you weren't going to get rid of him. But look at the defense. Look at the Hall of Famers that he got. Look at the Hall of Famers that he coached. How many Hall of Famers does he have? That's amazing. So again, Dan Marino, to me, one of the best passers, pure passers. Unfortunately, he won a Super Bowl, so he never gets the full credit. But Jimmy, go back and look at the Hall of Famers that Jimmy Johnson had and coached and developed. Listen to what players say about Jimmy Johnson, and you can never tell me that he's not one of the best coaches all time. College or pro, whatever way you want to look at it. He's definitely one of those guys. So anyway. He wasn't. Dion won the number 2 receiver. Kevin Williams was the number 2 receiver. Dion came in and played both ways sometimes, and he had big plays and he had big catches. So I'm not going to say he saved the season. So we'll agree to disagree. I like Dion. He's up on He's in the Cowboys cave. Deion's probably the greatest cornerback ever to play the game. Probably one of the greatest athletes in the history of sports. Being a baseball player and football and being an all-star, baseball player. So again, anyway, it is what it is. Yeah, and we saw the draft when Jimmy Johnson left. So I'm not going to get negative on the Cowboys. Those are dark days. Those were dark days in Cowboys history. But again, they got Larry Allen. They got Larry Allen without Jimmy Johnson. So I'll give you that. But they didn't really get much else until they changed their philosophy and brought some other people in to start doing some drafting. So anyway, and yeah, I mean, and really. To me, and it's no knock on the Hall of Fame. I think Jerry. I'm not a big thing on owners being in the Hall of Fame. I don't know. Maybe they are contributors. Maybe they get a special wing or something like that. But I don't look at owners being in the Hall of Fame. I mean, if that's the case, Robert Kraft should be in the Hall of Fame now. I mean, how many Super Bowls did they win? They went on a run that it's never going to be duplicated in the sports today. And he went on that kind of run. So anyway, I know Deion played a lot. I know Kevin Smith tore his Achilles the first game. I know all of that stuff, but man, Deion, great cornerback, Hall of Fame cornerback, top cornerback. No slight to Deion Sanders, man. No slight to Deion Sanders. I loved him, man. I rocked that 21. He was one of those players. He was like a TO, man. I hated him when he won the Cowboy, but when he gets the Cowboy, there wasn't a bigger fan. But Cowboys win the Super Bowl without Deion Sanders, so is what it is. Norv Turner been there in '94, had a bigger impact than Barry being there. No, I mean they kept. That's what Barry talked about. They kept the coaching staff, but you got to think about it. You're keeping the coaching staff that all those guys, except for Norv Turner, they were all Jimmy guys from back in Miami. I mean Campo, Butch Davis, Wannstedt, all these guys that some of them left, I think. I don't know if they left after 94, after 93, I can't remember. But still, the core of those guys were all Miami guys that have been loyal to Jimmy Johnson. Barry Switzer had to go win them over and then also, win the players over. I mean, you remember Irvin throwing trash cans and this and that. You talk to Michael Irvin today, he loves Barry Switzer. And that was the thing that Campo said too. And he said, he was with Jimmy Johnson for a long, long time. And he said, the only thing I'll say is, Jimmy Johnson was we were together forever for a long time. And he probably couldn't tell you my kids' names. Barry Switzer knew all my kids and my family within a week. That's the kind of person that Barry Switzer was. I mean, he was just a different coach than Jimmy Johnson. And maybe that helped the team, in that short stint, or the coach helped kind of build them together. And really the downfall of the Cowboys, I wouldn't put it on Barry Switzer. I'm not going to put it on Barry Switzer, but I will put it on the draft. They did not draft, Shante Carver and Dwayne Goodrich, and the list goes on, where they had drafts where they didn't get one guy in the whole draft that contributed. Again, Larry Allen was in '94. A big part of the '95 season. I mean, you can argue if you didn't have Larry Allen, maybe you didn't win a Super Bowl in '95. But it was terrible drafts for a long, long time, and that's why even like with Romo. Now I'm getting off on a different tangent, but with Romo, is Romo a Hall of Famer? Probably not. Should he be in the Ring of Honor? Probably not. If he got in, would I be pissed off if he was in the Ring of Honor? No. Because what he did, he saved the Cowboys franchise. I mean, look at the situation that we were in. I mean, you bring in Bill Parcells and this, that, but it's a quarterback league. And Bill Parcells, they were rolling out Bledsoe and Vinny Testaverde and Drew Henson and all these guys. And then here comes, Tony Romo, because of the connection with Sean Payton, at Eastern Illinois. He comes in. And when he gets the opportunity, he's just a lightning bolt to this franchise, and he gave us all hope. I mean, and Romo, you didn't know if he's going to throw 5 picks, you didn't know if he's going to throw 5 touchdowns, but you knew you were going to be in every game. And that's the thing I'll always say with Romo is he was a competitor. He was a great quarterback, thrower of the football. He was. Bad things happened to him at the worst possible time, and I think some of that is just makeup and and the way it is. I mean, some guys have a knack for big plays and big games, and some it just the worst things happen, and it's not all his fault, but it is what it is. But Romo, he saved he saved his franchise. I mean, we're going down the toilet, and he really came in and did it. So anyway, Barry gave up on the discipline. Jimmy installed. Yeah, I mean that wasn't Barry's style. I mean that wasn't Barry's style. Barry, and Irvin talked about Barry, or Daryl Johnson talked about, the Barry expected these guys are men, they're professionals. And that wasn't his thing. Where Jimmy Johnson, he was on these guys all the time. Now, Jimmy Johnson, I mean, don't make no mistake about it. These Cowboys had some, we had some checkered past. They were in the. I mean, you had the White House that was right across from the practice facilities where they were doing a whole bunch of stuff. So Jimmy Johnson controlled it better. Jimmy Johnson managed it better. But it was just it was a different philosophy in the way that Barry was. And I think, to your point, I mean, and we all would agree that Jimmy Johnson, for what that team needed, Jimmy Johnson was the guy for it. Barry wasn't. But had they drafted better, maybe it wouldn't have been so bad. Had they drafted better. But you got to look at those drafts, and they were terrible. I mean, it was just terrible drafts after everything. So Jerry's Romo, he's getting it. No, I mean, you're probably right. You're probably, and I wouldn't be. I'm not gonna go up and down. Parcells brought back discipline. No, he did. He did. And the I don't know how the hell you made the playoffs with Quincy Carter. I mean, Jesus God. But you look at it and it's like, man, if Quincy didn't mess up the way he did, then Romo may not be on the team. I mean, he might have been cut. So things happen for a reason. I love coaches. Like if you're going to say who's your favorite coaches, I mean, it is a Jimmy Johnson. It is a Bill Parcells. It's that kind of coach is what I like. That's what I feed off of. I'm not a huge, the players coach. I think McCarthy's kind of in the middle. I think what McCarthy's done is he instilled a culture change with the team. He's focused on football. He's not into the media stuff, but I think he's done a very positive thing for the Cowboys, getting away from that Jason Garrett, which I never was a fan of his coaching style. I like McCarthy, but my favorites are always going to be like the Parcells and the Jimmy Johnson. I just like those. I just like that style. And let's see, Michael Irvin was a major reason they won those Super Bowl. He started a competitive nature throughout the team. Oh, absolutely. They all say it. I mean, Michael Irvin was, he won championships at every level of sports he played in. He won in high school at St. Thomas. He won in Miami, and he won in the Cowboys. And he didn't just win them. He was the leader of every single one of those teams. That's not by accident. Michael Irvin is 100%, that kind of guy, for the team. But yeah, social media in the 90s, we joked about it with Moose Johnson. Yeah. But, yeah, it would have been terrible. It would have been terrible because I had said, man, that the hate the Cowboys got, what would it have been? He goes, Mike, they hated it. It was the White House. They found other things. They couldn't attack them on the field, so they attacked all their character, and that's what they did. Yeah, the White House. That's still a house. I want to go find it. They said that there's people that live there now. I read a story on it, like, where is it today? And you wonder if some of those people know what the hell went on in that house. They probably had to fumigate it and do all that other stuff. But yeah, Michael Irvin, I mean, Michael Irvin will always, Michael Irvin hungry. I mean, that was a bad man, old Michael Irvin. He's definitely hungry. So, but yeah. Now, he won in high school. He won a championship at every level of school. So that's, but anyway, might have been a Piper, but he won a state title in high school. Wherever he went, he bounced around because he had some legal issues. I know at Piper and then some other ones, but yeah. So anyway, Eric Williams, never heard his. Yeah, that was the one thing we talked about and trying to get I'm in talks with Eric to get him on, but that was one of those injuries that would absolutely, it crippled it crippled. It changed everything. He was the one guy that just absolutely. If you remember those Reggie White games, he absolutely owned Reggie White, and they had some battle. And you're talking about Reggie White's one of the greatest, linemen, you know, defensive linemen there. But Eric Williams, yeah, that's one of those forgotten ones. If they had Eric Williams, at what he was, you just wonder how much more down. They probably win in '94 if Eric Williams is what he is. So, yeah, my Alvin Harper was a good two. But sometimes guys are twos and guys aren't ones. He goes to Tampa, he gets paid, and then the next thing you know, they're not the same. They're not the same. So, but yeah. So anyway, I've been on a long time, man. I didn't expect to be on a hour and a half, but I got stuff to do. I got cameos to do. I got to do my 2 fantasy football cameos. So any of you guys in fantasy football leagues, man, you can hit me up on Cameo. I'll do your draft order. I'll talk some smack. I'll do all that stuff. So that's what the big thing that's going on with Cameo now. So I've been doing a bunch of them and having a good time with it. So make sure if you got any leagues, check it out. You get the full 5-star treatment from me. So anyway, we're going to be back on live Monday with Jimmy D. We're doing all football stuff. It's not all Cowboys. So Leonard, if you're not a Cowboys fan, you're drinking a Kool-Aid or something else, you can go ahead and do that. But yeah, so we'll get that going. And then we've got a lot of stuff going on. Like I said, Wednesday, I got a special guy from the University of Miami, a super fan. Great story. Shelton, he dresses up in full gear, but there's a really, really great story behind that, why he does it, some of the charity things that they're doing with that whole situation turning into a positive. So definitely, you don't have to be a Miami fan. Now we're going to talk some Canes, but you don't have to be a Miami fan to enjoy it. So he's going to pop in and we're going to talk a little bit. And then Thursday, Mike Sherrard's going to be jumping in the cave. First round draft pick of the Cowboys in '86. Talk some Cowboys, play with the Niners, play with the Giants. Make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. But I truly appreciate it on a Sunday morning, you guys hanging out with me for an hour and a half, chilling with your boy, having a good time. So I really thoroughly appreciate it. Fantasy football show on Tuesday. We got a couple spots filled. I did get an email from Troy. We've got, I think, 2 more spots to fill for the fantasy football thing for Inside the Cave. It's going to be all the boys in the shows, and myself, Kelly, Jimmy, the whole crew. Uncle Cheech is making an appearance. So we're going to do a fantasy football league. It's just, it's going to be a lot of fun. So a lot of smack talk, and we'll be doing the draft on there. So make sure you check those guys out, man. They got a great show, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Again, thank you for everything. Hit that like, subscribe, share. I'll see you.
The Eagles getting ready, because you might not like it, but you will learn to love it, because we are the best thing going today. Now, can you dig it?